The following video is not a feel-good one. It is not a story of things turning out better than we had hoped or expected. But it is a cautionary tale for anyone looking to purchase a steel boat. I'm Taryn, this is Logan, and this is Max. Our life rarely goes as planned, and this story is no different. But we are determined to rebuild our beautiful steel boat, even stronger than she was before. And we're bringing you along with us. A few weeks ago, we showed the inside of our first chunks of our bulwarks. We were cautiously optimistic after those first cuts, hoping the rust wouldn't be too bad throughout the entire bulwarks, and that we would be able to save some of it, instead of having to completely rebuild them.
If we open up a section back, 8 feet or 10 feet, and it's all like this, I don't think there's a reason why we couldn't just leave this.
But as you will see, that wasn't quite the case. Before we cut into the rest of the bulwarks, we had to remove the stanchions.
We're going to remove all of our stanchions and lifelines and cut the inside of our bulwarks off and check their condition.
Sweet. Today is an exciting day. While Logan did that job, I did some editing. So my office today, so that I can help Logan with the bulwarks but also get some video editing done, is the car. Because it's really, really noisy with how he's cutting stuff, so I don't want to be near it. So yeah, my studio is in here today. You can see the computer there, my cell phone, in here, and I've got a power cord coming in so that I can charge my computer. And Logan's in there being the quietest he's been so far. What you doing, Max? Hold on, shit. Somebody's on my lap. How's it going so far?
Good. We no longer have stanchions or lifelines, and it's quite rotten back there.
Where we thought it would be.
Yeah, where we knew it was. So, but this doesn't honestly look all that bad.
So far. Then began the process of actually cutting off the bulwarks. And the cutting continued. And then the cutting continued.
And look at the shape of this. See the holes there, there. That one's got some filler in it. Same with this one. It's all filled up. And that is, that's quite a mess. See, all this in here is all fluid film. Just an absolute ton of it. Just an absolute ton of goo. So that's exactly why I can't cut through this with a plasma. Oh man, I didn't realize there was that much in there. But yeah, not much left of the inside of those bulwarks. They're pretty toast.
Holy crap.
That's a lot of fluid film.
That's a lot of fluid film, my god. It's insane. All that weird buttery, peanut buttery looking stuff, that is fluid film, which was intentionally put in the rails so that if there was any holes, we would know, because it would theoretically spill out. We did end up with some on the deck, and yeah, a lot of it's still in there. That's crazy. It's easy to see why it would stay in there, because it's just like a butter in there. It's not even like a liquid.
Yeah, it's
Look at all that
reacted with the with the rust and the water and everything. But yeah, this thing is just full of holes. Look at them all.
Crazy. But you haven't even gotten to the outside yet.
No. And there's where it was filled before.
Oh yeah.
So.
Crazy. That's just gnarly.
It is, but it's all got to be clean.
So far this actually tells us nothing about the rest of it and what kind of work you're going to have to do. But it might mean that we don't have much rust going through the deck because that might have protected it.
Yeah, if anything, like it might have smothered, like kept the oxygen away from here.
Super interesting though.
The stuff you find.
Yeah.
But.
Can you tip it so we can see the light coming through all the holes?
Probably see some of the holes, like there and there. That's a hole, that's a hole, that's a hole. Yeah, there's not much left of that.
Good thing we're replacing it.
Yeah, I haven't even gone down to where it's just freely leaking out of onto the deck.
Right.
But yeah, this has been repaired. Before, we already knew it had been, but
it kept going.
yeah, it's good to finally get this off the boat.
Definitely. With every chunk we took out, we found something worse.
All right, well, that's all filler there and there. There's a patch right there. This is all filler here and here and here and there and there. And then that whole spot there, it just broke out. So I'm really glad we're not trying to save the inner bulwarks, because it is completely toast. Like, you can see how thin this is. I can just bend it. There's nothing left but rust. I am removing the Genoa track, or trying to, but it is very difficult.
Is it?
Because there's a couple of screws that just would not come out. Try not to fall off the boat.
Yeah, quite a process.
Not good left-handed, and this is not going to work right-handed.
What is that?
It's a manual impact driver. got that one.
Yay! 20th time's the charm.
Oh man. Nothing is easy.
Of course not. So you just pulled all the screws out of this track so that you could cut behind the track?
Yeah, so that we're not cutting into this track when I try and cut the inside of the bulwarks off.
Right. And originally you thought that you wanted to change it, but you're thinking now that we're just going to keep it how it is, yeah?
Yeah, originally I thought that this was attached just through the deck with nuts, but it looks like it's either tapped into the deck or there's nuts or something welded in there. I don't know if it goes all the way through. We won't find that out for a little bit, I don't think, but
either way it worked pretty well.
yeah, it did work really well. And that's our track.
Sweet. Oh, a little bit rusty underneath, it looks like, hey?
Yeah, around the bolt holes, I think. The track's aluminum, so it's not rusting, but
Okay, thank you.
yes, we'll need to clean this up and have it and rebed it when we're ready to put everything back together. But for now, it doesn't look like the hull is warping or anything. So that's a bonus.
Yep.
Well, I think our worst case scenario has been realized. We've got a substantial part of the deck underneath the bulwarks that's rotted out. I mean, that's the spray foam underneath there. The bulwarks are rotted out. And it's just the pitting and the holes. They just don't end. So we're gonna have to make a new plan here. I thought we could save most of the bulwarks, but it's not looking that way right now.
We get to here, and there's a bunch of holes that are not supposed to be there. That right there goes right through the deck into the galley.
Nope. Galley's up there.
Oh, damn it, that's behind the settee.
That's almost right through. That's almost right through. We might be able to just fill here and not have to replace it. That one's right through.
So that's definitely into the galley.
That's in the galley. See the water coming out of the steel, which means we're not even back to bare steel on the bulwarks. Well, you can see this is all rust flake.
Yep. So there's probably more holes that we haven't even uncovered yet. So when we showed you guys up there, starting to cut out a bunch of it around the chain locker, we'd really hoped that it was going to be like that the whole way down, or it was just like a couple of small holes, and then the deck looked pretty decent for the most part. We thought that, like, we had a couple of holes up there that we thought might have actually rusted through from the inside up because it's the chain locker. But Logan cut off this whole port side yesterday and the day before and chipped away all of the goo and all of the rust, and there's holes right through the deck, which was our worst case scenario essentially. That means that we've got a bunch more work ahead of us because we have to tear out a bunch of the interior in order to do the welding without lighting the boat on fire. And it's on this side, it's in the galley cabinetry as well as behind the settee. So that means that essentially we're tearing most of our boat apart. Interior, most of our boat apart, which means that we have probably 2 more months of work. At least. And a lot more time living on land. Which, I mean, in the long run, it's not a big deal, but we're into month number, 8 already of being on land, and it's just, this is a lot bigger of a project than I think either of us thought it was going to be, and it's just frustrating. Because it's also hard to work and keep the money coming in while we're doing this, because it's just so all-consuming, doing the work and making the videos to show you guys, and just trying to keep the stream moving forward, because we know that what we want to be doing is being on the water, and there's nothing that compares to being on the water and being out on the boat. This is probably the first point in this project so far where I'm like, shit, I'm really disappointed that we actually have to do this much more work. Because it's a bummer to have to tear out so much more of the interior, and that means we have to move a bunch of stuff around, and we've got to, yeah, this is a big one. This is a big setback. And I mean, it is what it is. It's going to be a lot better when we're through it, and when we can actually know that our deck is strong and we've got a strong join, and our boat's not going to fall apart if it flexes in waves or whatever. But right now, at the beginning of June, it's the 1st of June today, it feels like just like a big ass setback, and it freaking sucks.
Obviously we need to look at what we can save on here, if anything at all, and just try and streamline this process as much as we can and get it done. We haven't even cut the starboard side open yet, and it's definitely worse than the port side.
And that cabinetry is even harder to get into than the port side.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at ways of being able to do this without removing everything, which is less than ideal for sure, but I just can't rebuild the entire interior of a boat.
No.
I'm not into doing that project. We need to get back into the water and just keep working. I mean, it's a huge setback. It's hard to even think about it at this point. It's so much work. And then having to, take this all apart to weld in new steel, clean and paint, or prime, fair, prime again, paint. Like, it's just, yeah, it's a pretty daunting task because there's just no end in sight. I wish this had been done earlier. There's so many patches done on the bulwarks, like so many, both in steel and in thickened epoxy, and just none of them were done well. I mean, the steel patches were done fine, but
It's not meant to have epoxy stuck in it when it's like a...
the epoxy just cracks and lets air in, and then it just continues to rust. But this has been going on for probably since the day it was built. I mean, they just bolted teak onto the tops of these bulwarks, through-bolted it. Yeah, it's very frustrating. Yeah, it's just going to be a lot of work.
Next week we start tearing the interior apart and working on our game plan for these repairs. Thanks so much for watching, and a special shout out to our patron community for helping to keep us motivated through these projects and for all of the support along the way.